Well, look, I think these are the trillion-dollar club getting together. $1 billion is probably a drop in the ocean for both of them. It's over 5 years. And what I think the aim of this at the end of the day is to try and automate and speed up as much of the partly the drudgery of doing lab work, because lab work, just like as if you were a doctor in a clinical setting, you need to take a lot of notes, a lot of details. But at the same time, I think they're investing in what appears to be automating 24/7 experiments, things that human beings just can't do. And I know, having been a scientist, that sometimes your life is on hold because you have to go back and deal with your experiments, your cells, or whatever it is that you're running. And so a lot of these things I think could speed up and also make the life of the scientist a little bit easier. At the end of the day, though, I think the aim here is to try and get scientific discoveries translated to drugs quicker and get them to market quicker.
Sam, what does this mean for Eli Lilly's rivals? Do you expect that we'll see some of its competitors also ramp up their AI endeavors given its partnership with a company like Nvidia?
Well, a lot of pretty much all pharma companies. And I just want to point you to a recent survey that BI, Bloomberg Intelligence, has done that looked at 10 different industries, one of which being the pharmaceutical industry, asked executives, what are you doing with this? What are you trying to get to? What is the aim at the end? Everybody is at this. This is not something specific to Lilly. And, Google, for example, has through DeepMind, has created an agentic AI called Google Scientist. It's like, I think, 4 agents or 5 agents who interact with each other and check each other's hypotheses. So a lot of this is going on in all companies. But of course, here we have Lilly, one of the richest pharma companies around in terms of the amount of cash flow that it's got, really being able to spend the money without really impacting its balance sheet and cash flow. And I'm pretty sure everybody's at this, but clearly this is the news du jour, if you like.
Absolutely. Like you said, it's a drop in the bucket for both of these companies. But when you have a number like $1 billion and these big brand names, it gets people's attention. What also gets my attention, Sam, is Moderna. Moderna, obviously, one of the vaccine makers during the pandemic, but it's had a rough go at it recently because it's so dependent on these vaccines. And we have an administration that is kind of anti-vaccine right now. Yet, Moderna pre-announced at the JP Morgan Healthcare Conference that its U.S. COVID business did better than expected. Is Moderna starting to stabilize?
Well, one would hope so. They've stuck with their aim of growing 2026 by 10%. But, if you look back at the beginning of the year where the company in 2025 started with guidance and where we ended up, we're a good $500-600 million short of what the hope was at the beginning of the year. So everybody, I think, knows that this is a very difficult market to call for exactly the reasons you just highlighted. There is a constant change in the way that the administration in the US, and not just the US, elsewhere, is also dealing with vaccination, particularly in the COVID side of things. Other vaccinations are still pretty much well settled in at least outside the US. The problem also that Moderna is going to face or has been facing is that there are lots of people. I think my patent colleagues say there are at least 20 various directions of legal cases or trials going on. Different groups saying you're infringing my patents or you infringe my patents and you need to, because there was billions and billions of dollars of revenues. So some of that is coming potentially in the March timeframe for Eli Lilly against a trial coming up against Arbutus, another company that's listed in the US. So some of that is, I think, something that might keep people from getting too excited about Moderna's guidance today.
As investors continued to concentrate on the chip maker's prospects in China and the general state of the artificial intelligence industry, Nvidia's stock stayed relatively steady on Monday, displaying no reaction to news of a significant new cooperation with Eli Lilly. Monday's trading saw a slight increase in Nvidia's stock, which has dropped by roughly 1.8% in the last month. Despite a constant barrage of announcements at the CES technology trade show on robots, autonomous driving, and AI software, which failed to rekindle share momentum, there has been a recent slip. Nvidia announced on Monday that it will invest up to $1 billion over 5 years in a new artificial intelligence research facility in collaboration with Eli Lilly. The San Francisco Bay Area-based lab will concentrate on developing cutting-edge AI models for chemistry and biology with the goal of speeding up drug discovery. NVIDIA's AI developers and model builders will collaborate with Lilly expertise in biology, science, and medicine at the center. Prior to the development of physical molecules, the objective is to digitally investigate biological and chemical realms using large-scale computation and artificial intelligence. In a statement, NVIDIA Chief Executive Jensen Huang said, "NVIDIA and Lilly are combining the best of our industries to create a new drug discovery blueprint, one where scientists can explore vast biological and chemical spaces in silico before a single molecule is made." NVIDIA's dominance in AI processors, especially those used in data centers and for large-scale model training and inference, is still the main way that investors see the company. The primary driver of the stock continues to be advancements in that core industry, not alliances in related fields. According to a research report by William Stein, an analyst at Truist Securities, management teams consistently stressed that AI-related demand is still strong and supported by consumer spending throughout meetings and keynote addresses at CES. NVIDIA stated that demand, especially for its H200 chip, is high among hyperscalers, neo-cloud providers, sovereign customers, and China. Stein continued, "Shares of NVIDIA may rise in response to any tangible indication that Chinese consumers are starting or increasing their purchases of the H200. Huang stated at CES that he does not anticipate issues from Chinese regulators and that there is a very high demand for the H200, which is intended to serve China's AI sector under U.S. export regulations. According to a previous Reuters article, NVIDIA already has orders for over 2 million H200 chips, each with a face value of about $27,000. This suggests that the company may make about $54 billion. But according to Reuters, Chinese officials have requested that some IT firms halt their orders while they determine how many chips made in China should be bought in addition to NVIDIA hardware. Despite the recent share price stagnation, a number of Wall Street firms reaffirmed their favorable opinions of NVIDIA. With a $275 price target, Baird maintained its outperform rating, highlighting NVIDIA's pivotal position in creating global AI ecosystems. The company contended that the intricacy of NVIDIA's platforms, software, and tools increases client adoption and provides a significant barrier to entry that investors continue to undervalue. Industry studies, Baird continued, indicate that NVIDIA will continue to hold its top spot even as workloads for AI inference increase significantly over the next several years. In addition, Bernstein listed NVIDIA and Broadcom as two of its top picks, stating that current prices seem attractive and that AI spending is not slowing down. NVIDIA continues to outperform rivals, according to analyst Stacy Rasgon, and Bernstein favors NVIDIA's future above rivals like AMD. Join our investor community. Hit subscribe and like to get your daily NVIDIA stock insights and tutorials delivered. Following CEO Jensen Huang's keynote address at the Consumer Electronics Show, CES, D.A. Davidson has reaffirmed its buy rating for NVIDIA. With an overall score of 3.02, data indicates that competitors maintain solid financial health even if NVIDIA continues to dominate the AI chip industry. Huang's revelation that the Vera Rubin platform is now in full production, offering up to 10 times cheaper token costs while training mixture of expert MOE models with 4 times fewer GPUs, was highlighted by the research firm. D.A. Davidson pointed out that during the presentation, Huang highlighted a platform shift toward physical AI and unveiled the Alpamayo family of open-source models intended to hasten the development of autonomous driving. Based on the CES announcements, the company stated that it is certain NVIDIA will continue to outperform competitors such as AMD and Broadcom for the foreseeable future. According to data, Broadcom has regularly increased its dividend for 16 years running and claims remarkable gross profit margins of 77.33% despite this pressure from competitors. With these platform developments, NVIDIA is solidifying its position in the autonomous driving and artificial intelligence industries, which is why the buy rating has been reaffirmed. In other recent news, Broadcom announced that its sales for fiscal year 2025, which ended on November 2, 2025, increased by 24% year over year. Notably, its income from AI semiconductors increased by 65% to $20 billion. The ratings for Broadcom's proposed senior unsecured notes, which are rated A by S&P, S&P Global Ratings and BBB Plus by Fitch Ratings, demonstrate the company's outstanding performance. In their evaluations, both agencies cited Broadcom's growing AI business as a crucial component. Broadcom has also introduced new Wi-Fi 8 chipsets for AI-driven applications, such as 2 dual-band devices and the BCM4918 accelerated processing unit. The goal of these advancements is to improve AI connection solutions security and power efficiency. The development of AI infrastructure has been identified by Goldman Sachs as a key investment theme for 2026, with Broadcom making notable advancements in this field. After talking with corporate leadership regarding competition in the AI field, Bernstein analyst Stacy Rasgon reaffirmed her outperform rating on Broadcom and set a price objective of $4,750. Due to growing competition and worries over customer-owned tools, investors are paying more attention to the company's position in the AI industry. Jensen Huang of Nvidia supports President Trump's ambition to reindustrialize America, but he draws attention to an important problem: energy. Despite the United States' greater economy, Huang claims that China has twice as much energy as the United States, giving Beijing a decisive edge in this industrialization war. Huang lauds Trump's prompt action in easing rules to increase energy generation capacity and asserts that expanding manufacturing capacity is unachievable without expanding the energy infrastructure. Jensen Huang, the creator and CEO of Nvidia, described how business strategy and U.S. industrial policy might align around common economic objectives during a broad conversation on artificial intelligence, AI, and national competitiveness. Giving a speech at a Center for Strategic and International Studies, CSS, event, Huang presented artificial intelligence as an industrial and energy problem in addition to a technological race, which he explicitly connected to President Donald Trump's declared goal of reindustrializing the U.S. When talking about the fundamental needs of AI leadership, Huang specifically addressed this relationship, pointing out that the availability of energy supports all layers of cutting-edge technology. One of the most important initiatives, one of the most important policies of this administration, and it was the first thing President Trump said to me when we met is, "Listen, we need to reindustrialize America," Huang said, reflecting on his discussions with the president. Manufacturing must return to onshore operations. We must assist America in producing goods once more. Huang went on to stress that without enough energy to run factories, semiconductor plants, and massive AI data centers, this endeavor cannot be successful. According to Huang, the problem is not that Americans lack the knowledge, resources, or technology necessary to create goods. Instead, China has surpassed the United States in energy output, and America has become complacent in this area. This implies lower energy costs, which increases the viability of industry. According to the creator of Nvidia, energy is at the lowest level. China's energy resources are double those of our country. We also have a bigger economy than they do. It doesn't make sense to me. We must assist America in producing goods once more. It will generate employment. We must restore that portion of the economy which has been destroyed by offshores, and Trump needs my assistance in doing so. Thus, that whole economic sector is absent. But how can we construct chip plants without energy? Plants with computer systems? We refer to these AI data centers as AI factories. Huang's remarks are part of a larger strategic framework that is focused on rebuilding domestic industrial capability. Large amounts of American industrial production have been offshored in recent decades, resulting in supply chain gaps and a decline in domestic skills in key industries like semiconductors. Trump's declared intention to buck this tendency unifies technology investment, manufacturing, and energy growth under a unified policy framework. Being at the center of the AI economy shapes Nvidia's place in this framework. The company is heavily involved in the development of what Huang refers to as 3 concurrent types of facilities in the United States: chip factories, supercomputer factories, and AI factories. The company is the top supplier of graphics processing units, GPUs, and AI computing systems. Since each of these needs a significant amount of consistent energy, Nvidia's business interests are directly tied to decisions about national infrastructure. Strategic alignment and pragmatic necessity are the driving forces behind Huang's support for reindustrialization initiatives. Increasing domestic production capacity supports the larger ecosystem needed for AI development while bolstering the supply chain resilience of Nvidia's products. Onshoring vital production is justified from an industry standpoint, since close proximity to design, manufacturing, and deployment can boost innovation and lower geopolitical risk. In a larger investment and historical perspective, this alignment is reminiscent of previous industrial expansion times when coordinated expenditures in manufacturing and infrastructure were essential to national progress. According to Huang's remarks, AI represents the next stage of that continuum, which is where corporate innovation, industrial strategy, and energy policy all come together. His viewpoint, which stresses AI's physical and economic roots rather than considering it as a solely digital phenomenon, highlights why reindustrialization is still crucial to both national policy objectives and Nvidia's long-term strategy. Don't forget to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your input helps create a more knowledgeable community where we can all learn and grow together in the world of investing. Stay up to date with the latest market trends, insights, and key updates by subscribing to Investing Tutorial. We're here to help you make smarter investment decisions and stay ahead of the curve.